Good evening, Mr. Hunt. The weapons you recovered in Belarus were confirmed to be VX nerve gas, capable of devastating a major city. The bodies of the aircrew were found less than 24 hours after they landed in Damascus. They were identified as low-level Chechen separatists, with neither the access nor the ability to acquire the weapons they were transporting. This would support your suspicion that a shadow organization is committed to inciting revolution by enabling acts of terror in nations friendly to Western interests. IMF suspects this to be the same shadow organization you have been tracking for the last year, also known as the Syndicate. IMF would be right. Normally, you and your team would be tasked with infiltrating and disrupting this terrorist network, but we have taken steps to ensure that this will not happen. Because we are the Syndicate, Mr. Hunt, and now we know who you are. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to face your fate. Pursue us, you will be caught. Resist us, you will be killed. And your precious secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. Good luck, Mr. Hunt. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Hello and welcome to The Road to Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. From look back at the Tom Cruise-led action franchise before we see Ethan Hunt running for the last time. I'm Ashley Hobley, and choosing to accept this mission is Dylan Blight.
Happy to be here as we head into the final act. Kinda?
Second half.
Yeah, second half.
Yeah. Today we're going to be discussing Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, the first film by Christopher McQuarrie, who has thus gone on to direct all films after.
Yep.
Accurate statement.
Accurate statement, indeed.
All right, let's get into it. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes and ending of the film. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's talk about Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Mr. Chairman, the time has come to dissolve the IMF. It's not just a rogue organization. It is a disgraced one.
Shutting down the IMF is a mistake you may regret. This is Brent.
Go secure.
Go.
The Syndicate is real, and they know who we are.
You need cooling.
The Rogue Nation, trained to do what we do.
An anti-IMF.
They're coming after us with everything they've got.
Oh boy.
You want to bring down the Syndicate? It's impossible.
Take your position.
I have eyes.
The show is about to start.
Got it.
You and your team will answer for every wanton act of mayhem you are responsible for.
Now we are all wanted by the CIA. Awesome.
First debut, July 31st, 2015. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Screenplay by Mr. McQuarrie. Story by Christopher McQuarrie and Drew Pearce. Starring Tom Cruise, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson, Sean Harris, and Alec Baldwin. With the IMF now disbanded and Ethan Hunt out in the cold, a new threat called the Syndicate soon emerges. The Syndicate is a network of highly skilled operatives who are dedicated to establishing a new world order via an escalating series of terrorist attacks. Faced with what may be the most impossible mission yet, Ethan gathers his team and joins forces with Isla Faust, a disavowed British agent who may or may not be a member of this deadly rogue nation. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Mission Impossible Rogue Nation?
Yeah, it's great, of course. I mean, look, once Christopher McQuarrie steps into the director's role, this is we're all gas from here on. I think also it's interesting. I was thinking that, you know, the fact that we have like a 2-part, and there was originally going to be like part 1, part 2 for the final films, and everyone was like, "That's crazy." It's like the
That's
same
crazy
story
when we've already kind of done it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, but we've sort of already done that between Rogue Nation and Fallout, you know. So, yeah, I think this movie does some like brings back the title sequence, like it does it with this one, doesn't it? This brings back showing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is the first one that brings back the showing the
movie.
spoilers, I guess, or whatever. The Syndicate, which is a group from the TV show, like is in this, but of course was set up at the end of the last film, so that was cool. The Rebecca Ferguson, obviously a huge standout from this one. Sean Harris is the bad guy, probably the I'd say he's the I'm gonna say he is the best bad guy because he gets 2 movies and he gets like more. Like I know Philip Seymour Hoffman's like gives that really good performance and everything, but he's like probably 50 minutes of screen time. So I'd say Sean Harris is the best bad guy in the series as well. Alec Baldwin weirdly works in this series, and I don't know. There's lots of love. I'm sure we'll break it down in a minute.
Yeah, obviously a really great film. Really interesting set pieces, interesting situation to put Hunt in. Kind of fun to see him working against American operatives and that kind of stuff, and like leading them on a wild goose chase around the world. I mean, my only issue with the film is the idea of, and I feel like it's probably even more so in the next film. It's the idea that his opponent is so smart that he's anticipated everything he's going to do, and thus he can't do the thing that he would usually do because he's already anticipated that, and that's the excuse for not doing the thing that you would normally do.
But he's he knows the way their mind works.
I mean, they're just using it as a crux to let Hunt do crazy, over-the-top stuff, which I'm fine with.
Doesn't sound like you're fine with it. Sounds like you're.
I'm fine with him doing crazy stuff. I just think it's a lazy excuse for let him do it. This guy has thought of everything in every situation, and
I like it. Ethan, I'm your ginger's worst nightmare.
And of course we get Isla Faust, Rebecca Ferguson introduced to the world, not introduced to the world, but kind of spotlighted in a way that made her a star. So, let's break it down. Obviously, going through the Wikipedia page, IMF agent Ethan Hunt intercepts a shipment of nerve gas being moved from Minsk by the Syndicate, a secret consortium of rogue field operatives from various intelligence agencies that he has been tracking. That's pretty vague description of it,
isn't
it? Doesn't exactly explain him, jumping on a taking off plane, infiltrating it, and parachuting out with the nerve gas. But I guess they couldn't put that everything in the Wikipedia article.
Who cares? It's a great opening to a film.
Yeah, it's up there. The Syndicate compromises. Oh no. At an IMF station in London, the Syndicate compromises the briefing. Before being gassed unconscious, Hunt is forced to watch a blonde man wearing glasses kill the station operative. This is a really cool twist on the, usual expectations of how the.
I like the when the voice says, and usually would, and like at that point you even see on Hunt's face, like he's like,
yeah.
As soon as he hears, and usually,
yeah. So like, it's all a trap. They've co-opted their mission briefings, and we get introduced to old Solomon Lane, who proceeds to kill the nice blonde girl at the nice girl who was at the counter. She's just trying to sell records.
Yeah, I recognize her for some reason.
Do you know what from?
No.
Let's see if we can quickly check. It's Hermione Caulfield.
It's definitely not her whatever small role in The Last Jedi. It may be Slaughterhouse Rules, if she's got a more prominent role in that, which apparently she does. Maybe that's I don't know.
Interesting. All right. In Washington, CIA Director Alan Hunley convinces a Senate committee to decommission and assimilate the IMF into the CIA due to their destructive events in Russia. Agents Benji Dunn, and William Brandt are forced to work for the CIA under strict scrutiny. Meanwhile, Ethan awakes and is tortured by an ex-KGB agent, Janik Bone Doctor Vintar. He escapes with the help of Isla Faust, an undercover British MI6 agent. 6 months later, oh no, we'll just leave it there. Yeah, obviously, what do we think about the IMF being dismantled by the CIA and kind of, this whole sequence?
Yeah, I mean, they prefer these films. The problem is that, well, not they. You can tell McQuarrie prefers these films as with Ethan's back up against the wall and like having to rely on his team and whatever else. Because the second you like leave it more, he's integrating with the IMF, then it's like, well, he should have access to more things and gadgets, and I don't know, you know what I mean?
You can't have that.
Yeah, and he doesn't want it. I guess he doesn't want it to be like Bond or anything like. It's like it's not meant to be that. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's cool, and like Brandt trying to talk his way into, or well, not say anything about the IMF, but then the IMF, giving all these examples as to why the IMF should be taken out. I love the shot of Alec Baldwin. Like, here's a shot of the Kremlin 12 months ago. Here's a shot of the Kremlin today. Dismantled. Terrible. But yeah, of course, then we get Hunt facing off with his first encounter with the syndicate members, noticing that the Bone Monster was actually meant to be dead, but is very much not. And like able to get out with the help of Ilsa, including one segment where he climbs a pole with his arms behind his back, which, I'm sure Tom Cruise did on his own.
he did.
He's like, it is fucking cool.
There's behind the scenes.
He made sure his shirt was off, so he had flex those abs as much as possible while he's been doing that. Fucking mental.
Mm.
But yeah, what first impression of Ilsa?
First impressions, you're like, why is this girl taking her shoes off?
That is true. A common thing, So, they make a connection, but yeah, Hunt finally escapes. He calls Brandt. Brandt's like, hey, we're getting assimilated. You need to come in. He's like, see ya. And then we don't see Hunt again for another 6 months. Yeah, so Hunt is a wanted fugitive by refusing to turn himself over to the CIA, covertly passes information about the syndicate to Benji, and arranges his tickets to Turandot, performing at the Vienna State Opera. Skipping over a little bit, I love the scene, or like Benji back in like an office job. One, playing Halo 5, which, dates the film a bit. Was it Halo 5? It was definitely a numbered one.
There was a Halo of some sort, yeah.
Yeah, at his desk. And does the lie detector test, where he says, it's pretty heartbreaking, actually, when you listen to him. Like, he left me here. I don't owe anything to him. He's not my friend.
No. And
it's like rough to hear.
But then they show that one little blip.
That little blip. Blip. But yeah, then Benji goes to the opera because, Benji, big opera fan.
Yeah, I wouldn't take him for a big opera fan. I just took it as I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Here's your excuse to leave the fucking CIA for a little bit. Also, why wouldn't they give him more work? Why has he got so much free time to be playing Haley?
I'm sure he does have. I think the thing is that he gets all his work done so fast. Because he says he's like, in his thing, he says he's like, been doing all these things, blah, blah, blah. I'm the best person you got here, blah, blah, blah. I just took it as like he gets everything done so fast and efficient because he's super smart, and then he has so much time to do nothing.
All right.
It's not like he wants to be either. He wants to be.
He wants to be in the field, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Upon Benji's arrival in Vienna, Ethan asks him to help track down the blonde man who killed the IMF station operative in London. At the opera, they encounter Faust and several other syndicate agents there to assassinate the Chancellor of Austria. Ethan prevents the hit and escapes with Faust, only to witness the Chancellor being killed by a car bomb. This was a really cool sequence, obviously, you know. Obviously, that's like a famous opera that they're playing. I didn't click that, like, I think the Ilsa's theme, like, includes that notes of that opera within it. Like, when they play it later, it includes that. Another thing that I picked up on this rewatch, now having watched the next few films, did you notice her when she's aiming with the rifle? Doesn't close her left eye.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because she can't. Because Rebecca Ferguson can't. Which is why she gets the eye patch in the other film. Which is it's funny to think back of now.
It's all connected. It's all planned. It's all...
But also, couldn't you just put your one eye over the I don't know, whatever they call the scope or whatever, and then just close both eyes, and then it looks like you've closed one eye?
I don't know. I've never shot a gun.
I've never filmed someone shooting.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, lots of fun. Some small gags with some of the lighting fixtures at the opera being messed with. You know,
I like this sequence. I appreciate a good big thing happening while people fight somewhere in the background and audiences aren't noticing, or whatever you want to call that type of scene.
Also, I feel like this was one of the first examples of like Tom Cruise kind of just accepting his height in a fight scene. Like, there's this big, tall dude, and Tom Cruise just accepts that he's the little guy instead.
Either they were like, "No, it's fine, because that's the whole point," or they were like, "Look, Tom, as much as we know you like to be the same size as everyone, if you want to film on this fucking thing,
there is no way for us to.
Like, we can't put a fucking crate up there.
We can't put an apple box.
Yeah, we can't put an apple box up there, mate. Like,
just deal with it. So
accept where we're at.
Very fun, and then obviously, Hunt shoots the Chancellor, but like in a non-lethal way to save him. I enjoyed them running along the roof. Again, Ilsa asked to take her shoes. And then the abseiling down the flag, which was rickety as all hell. And it collapsing right after they got to the ground. Very amusing. Only for the car bomb to go off because,
he thinks ahead.
He's always thinking ahead. Contingencies on contingencies on contingencies. Fucking bullshit. So Benji gets a car from somewhere. They race off with the syndicate following them. Ilsa says, "Hey, you need to throw me out because I, this is the second example of me failing a mission." They take her lipstick. She says, "Hey, you've got everything you need to find me." And she jumps out of a moving car. Of course, Hunley blames both Ethan and Benji for the assassination and orders the Special Activities Division to capture and kill them both. Brandt convinces former IMF agent Luther Stickle to help him locate both Ethan and Benji before the CIA does. Ethan and Benji go to Ethan's secret houseboat that I guess he's been using to get around the world. And Benji's gets into it. There's an emotional speech. It's like, "Hey, I'm your friend. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. And Ethan's like, "Fine."
Yeah, just he goes off and everything, and it's just like, okay.
Good.
Hug
it out. Hug it. Hug it out. Hug it out. Yeah. No, we don't.
That's
get
how
that.
real men share their feelings.
Yeah. So they find a drive on Ilsa's lipstick, and they go to Casablanca, Morocco. That's right.
Yeah, Morocco. I remember it was Morocco.
Ethan and Benji found Faust in Casablanca, where she identifies Ethan's suspect as the rogue MI6 agent Solomon Lane, who is the leader of the syndicate. The three have to, so Wikipedia again, like super. So they are there to capture a list of syndicate agents, but it's within a very special vault, which is almost impossible to infiltrate because that's what the IMF does.
They've got a computer that uses cameras as you're walking, and it knows if it's you based on not only facial recognition but also your
stride.
steps and temperature, and like apparently it's the most
sophisticated thing possible.
Yeah.
But there's one way they can get in. They've got to go through an underwater event and swap out the two cards.
Because it'll implement Benji's walking pattern basically into the computer.
But you can't take any metal into the water pipe thing because then it'll just shut down or put extra water in. I can't remember.
So it'll flush you out or some shit. I don't know.
It'll flush you out. Again, incredible sequence. Obviously, everything has to time up perfectly. But after almost like getting the card in, Ethan's unable to like.
You know who would have made it? No worries.
Who? Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet, correct.
After holding his breath for a very long time, he runs out of oxygen and has to be rescued by Ilsa, who opens the airlock in the dome, which is awfully convenient. They have that, but yeah, they're able to get the list. Benji comes back all super proud of himself to find Ethan being defibrillated back to life. Good times. However, Faust flees with the data to London and meets her handler, Chief
There's a whole action scene.
Yeah. She flees with the list and goes to meet her.
Fucking hell.
Her handler.
So fun.
I know.
I find it so funny that when the I enjoy Tom Cruise playing the I'm barely alive, doesn't know where he's at sort of thing. And then when he after she takes off and they go to run out there, that Tom Cruise sliding across the bonnet of the car just to fall off, like we're going into action mode and goes across, and then Benji being like, "You right to drive? Are you sure you're right to drive?" It's just like, of course.
Proceeds to reverse into the car behind them.
Yeah.
Yes, we do get a really great action car chase scene, which also features them bumping into Brant and Luther, who did not get a fast car, got instead like a Land Rover SUV.
Funny banter between them two. It's like, you had to get the big car, didn't you?
Yeah, good times. They're driving all around Morocco while the syndicate agents are also chasing Faust.
I love
on
that.
motorcycles.
I've got some. This is one of my favorite action sequences in the older films. Actually, I think this car chase is just like done really well, and then switching up to the bike and everything like that. I really like it. But it's just also just the going the car down all the bumps and stuff like that, and I remember the line being in the trailer as well, and it still tickles me every time of just like where they're like going backwards, and he's like, seatbelt on. It's like, you ask me now. And then like switching it straight up to the bike, which is the first time he's got on a bike since 2, like, and had a full on. I know we get he proceeds to get in the bike a couple of times from in the films going forward now, but this was back on a bike.
He was finally back on a bike.
Yeah.
I do enjoy them after they proceed to crash while driving backwards off a balcony, I guess.
When Benji wakes up and he goes,
no, but the bad syndicate dude's about to come up, and then he gets hit by Brand's Luther. Always love a good comedy bit. But then Hunt chases Ilsa around. She gets a bit of a gap between them, and she stands in the middle of the road.
Plays chicken, basically.
Plays chicken, and Tom Cruise wipes out pretty bad.
Because he will not spare the one life for the multiple Ash that may or may not come back.
It may or may not come back, yes. So she sees her handler, MI6 Chief Atlee, who discreetly deletes the data and forces her to continue her undercover assignment. Later, Benji and Ethan are found. Well, later, Benji and Ethan found by Stickle, Brant, whatever. Stickle discovers that the data, which was copied by Benji earlier before finding Faust, is an encrypted British government virtual red box that requires the biometrics of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom to unlock it.
I like how they have all these fancy names for stuff. It's like, it's just USB with access to a bunch of bank accounts. Yep.
Yep. Yep. They all travel to London, but Lane's men abduct Benji during the team's meeting with Faust at King's Cross railway station and use him to blackmail Ethan into decrypting and delivering the data to him. Despite Brant's protests, Ethan accepts the mission. Brant secretly reveals their position to Hunley. It's pretty good. Not a lot there. Nothing too action packed. I mean, we do have Atlee kind of like screwing over Ilsa at that point. You know,
Atlee screwing over her thing is
the idea of this red box that is has like a bunch of bank accounts or whatever in it that would fund the.
Again, also just like playing into this is really a two-part movie thing. Like that character trying to escape her time at MI6.
Yeah,
is like a through line.
Mm-hmm. All right. In Oxford, Hunley, Brant, and Hunt, disguised as Atlee, meet the Prime Minister, who confirms that the syndicate was a secret project proposed by Atlee to recruit former intelligence agents and perform missions without oversight and zero accountability, which the Prime Minister unequivocally rejected. Ethan tranquilizes the Prime Minister. He and Brant secure the Prime Minister's biometrics, allowing Stickle to decrypt the file. This was a fun sequence and like a cool reveal of all the information. I mean, for me, I don't think it clicked that it was a fake Atlee until the real Atlee.
Oh, no, not when I was watching it the first time.
Yeah, the first time until Atlee starts walking through, like playing Hunley completely.
Yeah.
And then, but also playing it in a way that he is like the hero of the situation, so he can't be angry with them later.
Yeah, I like the Prime Minister once he's like shot the serum thing. So funny later when he's like,
just agreeing with everything he says.
And then he saved you. Did he? Oh, thanks. Like,
really cool reveal, and that is the one Rhames appearance. This one. I mean, there was technically a fake out where with Benji where he pretends to do a mask, like when they're planning out the water thing. But this was the only true use of a mask in this film. When the real Atlee arrives, Ethan and Brant force him to admit that he secretly started the syndicate without the Prime Minister's knowledge before Lane hijacked it, after which Atlee tried to frame Faust. I mean, it's a nice twist that the British are behind everything. Are the bad actors in this. You know, this seems like something the Americans would do. Like, they're having to deal with their own. I guess they, because they are Americans, they have to make the British look bad in this one. Yeah. When decrypting the file, the red box contains access to £2.4 billion in numerous accounts. Ethan destroys the data after deducing that Lane plans to fund the syndicate with the money. Arriving at the meeting place arranged by Lane, Ethan finds Benji strapped to a bomb and wearing a headset, contact lenses cameras to serve as Lane's proxy.
Throw back to Mission Impossible 3.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the first time they have that. And then she notices that he Benji's wearing it. Remember when they're doing the like dual thing in the Dubai Tower or wherever the fuck it is.
That's Ghost
Protocol. That was last. Sorry, Ghost Protocol. Throw back to Ghost Protocol. These films all the contact. We're watching them in a row. It's they're blended together.
Kind of blurred together. Yeah.
But it is something I definitely like. Little things like that. Where when you're watching them like years apart or nowhere near as close, I'm like, oh yeah, that's whatever. Never really think about it. But then when you're watching, like, oh, that's actually a gadget that I already introduced. Like,
yep. Ethan tells Lane that he has memorized the data and offers himself in exchange for Benji's safety. Benji escapes after Lane remotely disarms the bomb, while Vinter's men chase Ethan and Faust through the Tower of London. I really enjoyed the tense of the meeting. I mean, it's like one of the tenser moments of the series of him saying he's got a bomb with a dead man switch and like all these other things. Also, he's got like a ton of ball bearings on, which would like fuck everyone up in that restaurant really bad. But the idea that Hunt has memorized all of these bank accounts, fucking wild. Like what? Like how many?
I don't think he remembers them all. I think he remembered one to get him.
Should have asked for two.
He only needs to remember one. You know.
He does. Like, so then we just get a giant chase through London. Everybody's running in all sorts of directions, everywhere. Yep. Faust kills Vinter. While Lane, who pursues Ethan, is lured into a bulletproof glass cell and gassed unconscious. A callback to the opening of the film where.
Yeah, I like this sequence, the reveal that it's as they all like walk up and close in on each side of him, sort of thing.
Yeah, like him not realizing his glass until like the very last second. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Having witnessed an IMF success firsthand, Hunley returns to the Senate committee and claims that their previous meeting served as a pretext to help Ethan and expose and shut down the syndicate, convincing the IMF to be restored. And after the meeting, Brandt welcomes Hunley as the new IMF secretary. Oh, that's the film.
It's so funny how characters like switch like so. I want him fucking dead.
Fucking IMF is terrible.
Yeah.
Join the team.
I'll join the team.
Yeah. Dylan, what's the most impossible moment of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation?
I mean, I'm going with the opening, hanging off the side of a plane.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And
and it's funny when you watch side by side of like the real footage versus what ends up in the film. You're like, okay, so they digitally remove those two little ropes. Cool.
I mean, even if you kept them in there, it'd still be super impressive.
Yeah.
It has to be the underwater segment. Like, not only going under holding your breath for that long and but acting as well. Like the dumb stuff that he does, and like losing the cards, and he's. I mean, admittedly, there is a lot of dumb luck amongst some of the IMF stuff, because he's just lucky that he lost the right card. You know what I mean? Or lost the wrong card, the original card. That was the one that flung out of his hands in that moment. Otherwise, Benji's dead.
It's true, but that's a theme for the IMF. Reliance on dumb luck a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? What do we think about the?
I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this film, and actually all of the McQuarrie ones. I think they do a really good job at sound mixing. They have really good use of music. I really like the scores in it, but they also know when not to have score, and sometimes just like having really good like in the car chase scene, just being like, we don't need a score here. Like the sound of the engines and just the metal hitting brick around this place is enough to keep the audience exhilarated. Like, I appreciate that.
Yeah. What do we think of the Ethan Ilsa?
I love their relationship and their courtship, and I guess I don't love the way it plays out because obviously she dies in the two films. But spoilers. But I don't love that. But as far as I'm sure if you like, we did spoiler cast for a couple of these as they were coming out. I don't remember where we started, but all I know is like ever since her character was first introduced, I just remember loving how they didn't like rush this romance, and then because obviously there was always a James Bond movie at the same time, and it'd just be like a random girl that Bond hooks up with. You know what I mean? Like it was always like the comparative.
I mean, it's interesting because it really wasn't the random. The last couple of Bond movies was Leah Sado in like running across a bunch. So It was just
Yeah.
those two juxtaposed, I guess.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
But no, I do appreciate the relationship and the way it builds up over a couple of films to.
Yeah, they just have
Really?
kind of this weird natural chemistry with each other, right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right when she's pulling out those syringes that she never uses.
Yeah. As much as I love Haley Atwell, like, nah, girl. They Rebecca Ferguson back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else?
I'd hang that shot of her holding that gun in a mirror in a museum.
With the leg up with the cut of the dress, yeah.
Yeah, put that in a museum.
No eyes closed, yes.
Yeah.
So, flute gun.
Yeah.
I forgot about the flute gun.
Yeah. I appreciate the flute gun, the fact that he doesn't just pick up and know how to use it. But he could have picked up and know how to use it.
Who?
That show, I forgot the name of that was. Where he makes fucking assassin thing. It was reminding me of that.
What, Day of the Jackal?
Yeah, Day of the Jackal. Fucking hell, I'm losing my mind. Day of the Jackal was reminding me of that because obviously that, like, he creates all these, like, whatever things.
Yeah. To me, it's he had all the bullets inside the flute, so at no point did they, like, shake it and hear the bullets in the flute. All right, let's know what you thought of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation by going to Explosion Network, by finding us on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com, or find us on other social media at Explosion Pod. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, so you can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/supports. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, remember, this podcast will not self-destruct.